everything I lose creates space for everything I need. That's going to be the quote and the topic for today's video. So we're going to be talking about how in life we lose friends, we lose physical stuff, we lose ourselves, we lose so many things. There are so many possibilities and things that we can lose in life. And we always connect the idea of losing something with it being bad, but not necessarily. When you lose a bag, you find a better one. When you lose a friend, you tend to find a better one. Everything, as the quote says, everything I lose creates space for everything I need. How many times in your life, I don't know, you lost a friendship, maybe you lost a job opportunity, maybe you failed an exam, maybe. We've all experienced all kinds of loss, and if you look at your history with loss, you're going to find in so many occasions that this theory has been proven to you. So many times you've lost something and you got something better, but for some reason we keep being afraid of this idea. It's just like we stay in relationships where we know that there's no happy endings to them. We stay with friends that are toxic. We just stay in places where we don't belong because we are afraid of losing, because we're afraid of being alone, when in reality, we're just putting ourselves in a worse situation. If you get out of that relationship, from that relationship, you will probably learn what kind of things you want and what kind of things you don't want in a relationship. From a friendship, you're probably going to learn a life lesson about who to trust, who you can trust, what kind of things you can share with people, what kind of things you cannot share with other people. If you lose a job, it was probably not meant for you. Maybe that job was gonna just cause you so much depression. You wouldn't fit in. You would, get overloaded with work stuff. Maybe you weren't gonna be happy in it. And so maybe God, the universe, whatever you believe in, ditched for you that job so that you would find a better one. Maybe you failed your driving exam because you weren't really prepared to go out there and drive with other crazy drivers on the streets. And so you failed that exam. And so you failing that exam was actually a blessing, because if you would have passed that exam and went to drive out there, maybe you were going to have a terrible accident, or who knows, Always look at the things that you lose, at the things that don't happen in your life as blessings. You were dodging a bullet. You were dodging something that wasn't good for you. Maybe you were meant to learn a new lesson for life that would help you in the future. And if it wasn't for that bad friendship, bad situation that you were into, you wouldn't have learned that lesson. And so that's why I feel like teenagers go through depression and so many terrible emotions when they're during those years of their life, because they're learning so many lessons. They have bad friendships, they get into trouble, they fail exams, so many lessons because they're literally growing. And I've met a person who had a very stable, very simple, drama-free adolescence, while we all had, our dramas, our problems, all the things that all the teenagers go through. And so by the time that we were 18, we were all so mature. We had learned so many things, we were wiser. And so when we would hang out with this other person who had the same age as us, but had a very simple, drama-free life up till that moment, we would find that this person was so immature. Like, not in a terrible way, like they weren't childless or anything, but they were still very naive. They still hadn't learned any lessons because that person didn't get tested by life. I mean, on the one hand, it was great for that person because nobody likes to go through these negative emotions. But at the same time, this person didn't get to mature, didn't get to grow and improve. And the younger you get to learn these lessons and go through all these hardships, the better. Because imagine you're 40 years old, you already have to deal with adulthood. You have so many adult problems. And on top of that, you're starting to see the world for how it is and learning how cruel some people are and making the mistakes that you should have made when you were younger, and you're making them right now. I mean, better late than never. But my point here, after too much rambling, is don't be afraid of losing things. Just let everything take its natural course. Whatever is meant to stay with you, it will stay. There is no way it's gonna leave you. And even if it leaves you, it's gonna find its way back to you. So just let everything flow and don't hold on to anything, because as I've said at the beginning, everything you lose creates space for everything that you need. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you got to learn something. And don't forget to take care of yourself, because you're the most valuable thing that you own. Bye.